Let's shift focus now to the state of Karnataka, and the Karnataka High Court will today be pronouncing its verdict in the hijab case. The High Court had reserved, remember, its judgment on February 25th after 11 days of hearing. Now, Bengaluru police has prohibited protests and celebrations in the city for 1 week in the view of the highly anticipated order.
Now, the controversy had erupted after a few Muslim girl students of a government college were barred from entering the college premises as they were wearing headscarves. The girls contended that hijab was part of their religious and cultural practice. The bench had passed an interim order restraining students from wearing any religious symbols in classrooms till a final decision was out. I'm joined by my colleague Revati, who's tracking the court developments. In fact, Revati, this is a highly anticipated order. And in preparation, we've seen that the state government has actually decided to take a few measures because, we've seen how charged up the environment was, especially in a few districts of Karnataka, when, this entire row that we have seen had in fact started out.
Yes, in fact, right after that news came out that judgment will be pronounced today, Section 144 was imposed in Bengaluru, in Shimoga, Udupi and other districts as well. In Udupi, in fact, which is the center of the controversy, schools and colleges too will remain shut. Now, let me quickly brief you about the case proceedings so far. Now, it was after 11 days of hearing that a three-judge bench reserved its judgment, and this case was transferred to a full bench by a single-judge bench because the question was not just about girls entering classrooms wearing a hijab, but also had to look at the larger question of whether hijab is an essential religious practice. Now, the petitioners have claimed in the court that it is a part of their right to religion as well as right to freedom of expression and a right to privacy. The state government has throughout maintained that hijab is not an essential religious practice and also gone on to say that they are not essentially banning hijab in educational institutions, but they've only given out an order saying that a college development committee will take a decision. They are the ones prescribing uniforms and the students must adhere to it. Now, following the order of the single judge bench, which said that none of the religious symbols or clothes, including hijab or saffron shawls, should be worn inside educational institutions, several students, in fact, even remained outside classrooms during exams as well, saying that they cannot enter removing the hijab. So today's judgment will be important not just for the fact that it will allow girls to enter classrooms or not wearing a hijab, but also answer the larger question of whether hijab is an essential religious practice, whether it is part of their right to freedom of expression as well.
Right, Revati, like we've been telling our viewers, it is a highly anticipated order. But like we mentioned about the prohibitory, arrangements and the orders that are in place on ground, if you can take our viewers through what are the kind of arrangements that you see, because people are expecting anything for the better or worse. There could be protests as well. So what is the police really doing on ground?
No sort of gathering, celebrations or anything of that sort is allowed anywhere across the city of Bengaluru. Section 144 is in place till March 21. In other districts like Udupi, Shimoga, Hassan, Davangere as well, Section 144 is imposed. Now, in Udupi specifically, already there is Section 144 imposed around educational institutions that already stands. In addition to that, Section 144 that's imposed across the district as well, anticipating that there things could go wrong. This district deputy commissioner has also said that the educational institutions, schools and colleges will remain shut today. So it has been declared a holiday for the educational institutions there as well. So prohibitory orders in place in several districts. Looking at the situation, some of these orders, prohibitory orders, will go on till March 18. In some places it is till March 21. So to ensure that the law and order situation is not going out of hand, prohibitory orders in place in a lot of these districts, and very clearly the state government saying that any sort of gathering, celebrations or protest will not be allowed following the judgment.
Absolutely. Revati, thank you so much for joining us with all those details. A very crucial verdict at the Karnataka High Court today. And Revati there standing by for getting us all those details when that happens at about 10:30 this morning.